Good evening, this is Nick Inman from VolumeProfileTrader.com on Thursday, December 15th, and today was a consolidation day for the market generally. We gapped open higher and basically traded lower to yesterday's balance range and did some more activity in that range. And once we got down to the 1208 to 1215 range, the market basically went to sleep and didn't give you much action at all. If you look at this is the weekly composite, and you can see the high volume that's formed at the bottom of this range. I'm anticipating a move from this range one way or the other, considering we're coming from higher levels and this point of control's at the bottom of the range. It makes me want to be bullish. You know, we've traded on both sides of this extreme, and as long as we stay above this point of control level, this market's probably going to go back up and test the 1230 level or so, the area that we traded around back on Monday and Tuesday. So I think for tomorrow, going into the weekend, I think that we're going to see a move higher. And if we don't get a move higher, then we're probably just going to stay in this range and just trade some more, you know, within this tiny, 10-point range. So there's, unfortunately, you know, the trade we're looking at is to the long side. We bought a little bit today. Well, actually, we started the day by buying TZA, and that worked out. We bought it right around 29.90, wrote it up and took profits. I really want to say it was up towards the 30.70 level, and it was a good trade. And the reason why we covered was because we came down to this support level, this point of control level, and that's where we basically reversed our position, went from being short, or I should say long TZA, to long SPY, or, you know, S&P futures, and trying to make a trade out of that. It just got stuck at the top of this huge high volume area and couldn't trade back out. So like I said, as long as we hold this, well, one of these, you see this is big volume 2 behind price, one of those are going to be point of control, you know, by tomorrow morning. And if price is above those levels, then I'm thinking that we should be buyers of the market on Friday. If it's below, maybe we get another sell down to 1200, maybe even sub 1200. So I'd like to say that it's longer only because, or it's to the long side only because of the move that we've seen down, but we're going to have to wait and see. One thing I want to point out is to really zoom out on the S&P, and I put this is a 180-day 4-hour chart, and what we're looking at here, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. We have basically a trend line resistance, and you can see every time price has gotten to that level, it's been right to be a seller. Likewise, this one isn't quite a trend line, but we're going to look at it as one for now. Every time price came down to this trend line, which is really the shortest distance between 2 points, so it's, you know, connecting these two and extending it to the right, it's been right to be a buyer regardless, and we're getting close to that level again. So we need to break this down, and you remember the weekly chart, which I just had up, point of control is on the bottom, whereas the monthly chart, the point of control for December is at the top of the range, and if that shifts lower, that will be positive. But for now, it's you know, these sellers are in control, and that's what we're seeing here. Now, I'm going to draw a few lines and tell you why in a second. All right. So this 1180, 1183 level on the downside. If I zoom out one, you can see back in October when we had our rally, this 1183 level held as great support, and it was our reasoning for staying long the market. We bought the market. We continued that ride higher, and likewise, you can see that the heavy volume relative to below and even right above in November, there was still heavy volume around that 1183 level. And so that's why we choose 1183 on the downside. And for the upside, you can see that this 1215 area or so, it was October's point of control level. It was the bottom area for the balance range in November until we broke lower, and it's, it has decent volume now in December. So we're looking for a move. We're back down in support. As I zoom in too much, we're back down in support. We're right next to this trend line. You see the whole moving average is still pointing straight down, so that's a negative. We're below 200, 100, and the 20-day, actually the 50-day. So the 200, the 50, and the 20-day were below all of those, so that's negative. But until we break this 1183 level on the downside, I think that you should be looking to buy this market. The only thing is, like I said earlier, December's point of control is at the top of the range. If we can trade sideways enough, even if it's below this 1215 level, and form the point of control in December, going into January, we may be breaking out of this, potential triangle pattern, and, one way or the other. If I had to say right now, well, in December, we got our one shorting opportunity, and if you weren't there for it, you pretty much got burnt, and it was actually right here. So if I had to say right now, the sellers are in control of this market. They're going to try to push this below 1180, but the buyers are in the zone where they're going to make a stance, and they're going to either let this thing continue to fall, which would be a major negative for the market, or they're going to try to defend this 1200 level, this 1180 level, and see if they can hold it. It's going to take, I assume, it's going to be pretty slow for the rest of the year, and it's going to take a while for this to form, a while being 1 or 2 weeks. So what we're ultimately looking for is the point of control for the month to come down to these lower levels, in the case of being a buyer, and then seeing some buying off of those levels. And we're getting that right now on the weekly chart, but we need to see some buyers, and which in that case, let me just digress for a second. If we do move higher for the next couple of days, say back up to this 1230, 1235 level, in my opinion, it would be right to be a seller at those levels, or, not necessarily shorting, but selling in the circumstance that we don't have point of control support for the month of December. We just have it over a period of time, and we aren't sure as far as how many people have bought and sold within this 3-month consolidation. So we don't know how completely accurate this is. It is going to be accurate. It's going to contain most of price, and we know that the 1216 to 1180 levels generally probably going to be the range for the next couple of days. So this is a quick S&P, well, not really quick, but I think a detailed S&P update, market update that should give you some kind of clue on what you're looking for the rest of the year. And just to sum it up really quick, I'm looking for some sideways consolidation. I'm looking for a potential move higher above, trying to break this 1216 level and go test 1240. Well, let's see, 1239 to 1260 or so. That's the ultimate range we want to go to. But value area low for December is the 1227, 1230 level. So just keep an eye on it. If the trade is there to the long side, take it. If not, I think you can be a seller at this 1215 level, and that's about it for now, as long as price stays below that level. So it's just the way the market's trading. like I said, break out above this 12.15 level, should trade to 12.30 or so. If we stay under, you can probably sell this thing, and 1183 is your ultimate target to the downside. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you tomorrow.